Thank you all for being here. I want to ask for a little grace on my voice. I've told people to don't stand so close to me. But y'all come on out. This is a really, really important day, long time coming. Y'all come on in and just find a place here. Got some, yeah, I think we can, some of you can come over here. As you can see, this is a group effort. It's a team effort. And I'm here today to announce that a few days ago, I launched with our partners here that you see. And we've got law enforcement, prosecutors, and victim advocates. But we launched Operation Obscured Vision, which is a human trafficking investigation, raid, statewide in different locations with partners all over the state. January just happens to be National Human Trafficking Prevention Month. We didn't plan this to be in January. This has been literally about 2 years in the works. But over the last couple of days, we executed search warrants at 12 locations around the state as part of Operation Obscured Vision. And the point of this was to target illicit massage parlors as part of combating human trafficking. We gave aid to 16 victims. We had 17 victims identified. We gave aid to 16. We arrested 4 individuals. We seized $70,000 in cash, some of it Chinese currency, and a luxury vehicle. And before I get into more details, I want to make sure that I thank everybody. So we've got numerous people to thank, and then I'm going to dig into this. But I want to make sure it's very clear that this is a cooperative, collaborative effort. So my office, the Special Investigations Division, led by Chief Bewley and Walter Mahone, been a key part of this. Arkansas State Police, Matt Foster. Okay, if I miss somebody, speak up. Arkansas State Fusion Center. Is anybody here from there? Okay. Jonesboro Police Department. Okay, if you identify yourself.
Chief Rick Elliott.
Harrison Police Department could not make it. They are literally right now still working one of the cases, and we just had another arrest out of Harrison, correct? Rogers Police Department.
Captain Jones.
Thank you. Benton County Sheriff's Office. Russellville Police Department.
Chief David Ewing.
Little Rock Police Department.
Assistant Chief Andre Dyer.
Hot Springs Police Department.
Chief Billy Arbiton.
And Homeland Security Investigations, our federal partner.
Also Major Stacy Rhodes with State Police.
Major Stacy Rhodes, State Police, plays a critical role as well. I told him, if I forget anybody, make sure he tells me. Good job. Prosecutors, Sonia Haygood is up here, right behind me. Second Judicial District Prosecuting Attorney. Jeff Phillips from the 5th Judicial District. I don't think Jeff's here. Will is here. You can't miss Will. One of my close working partners. David Etheridge, right here. Michelle Lawrence, also couldn't make it. And Brian Sexton. Did Brian make it? There you are. Thank you, Brian. And then a key part of this team effort are the advocacy groups, Arkansas Human Trafficking Council, Into the Light is represented here, Freedom Finders, Hope Found, also represented here. Northwest Arkansas Forensic Nursing Team REACH, Northwest Arkansas Sexual Assault Center, also represented here. We Are Free, represented here. Regional Intervention of Sexual Exploitation, RISE, and Children's Protection Center, CPC, in Little Rock. So let me talk about the genesis of this and what happened. Before I came into office, I was very interested in pursuing the human trafficking problem. And when I took over, there were no investigations of human trafficking going on in this office. And the resources were very limited in terms of investigative resources. And so I talked with Chief and I said, I really want to go after some of these illicit massage parlors. I've heard that that's part of the human trafficking problem. He confirmed that. We had a lot of meetings with outside groups, advocacy groups, law enforcement, federal, state, local. And we talked with folks in Northwest Arkansas, FBI and their task force. There was no task force in Central Arkansas on human trafficking when I got here. So I think we need one. We need a group to meet monthly or so. And we started that. You may remember one of the things I like to do is not just have an announcement, but follow up later and tell you what it's done. So it's not just we're going to announce it and nothing ever happens. You may remember we announced STOP, Statewide Tactical Operations Partnership. That's our human trafficking partnership. We've been meeting. And we've been meeting about different things. We've been meeting about what we're seeing. We've been meeting about legislation that we need to pursue. But one of the things that we've been meeting about is how do we get our hands around this problem? So I want to thank the governor and the legislature because last year I went to them and said, I need some full-time investigators. There was no full-time investigator. There's really no one on cold case, organized retail crime, or human trafficking, etc. I said, we need a full-time person on human trafficking. We got that funded. We got that person. And this operation is the first significant beachhead that we've been able to make because of a full-time investigator. So let me talk about what's going on here. So we had 4 arrests. I probably won't, with my Magnolia accent, it probably won't be perfect, but let me try this. So Haiyan Liu of Harrison, King Chen of Jonesboro, Hong Liang Kai of Jonesboro, and Chun Li Wang of Rogers. My understanding, all 4 of these are Chinese nationals. All 4. The one that Chun-Ling Wang, was she the one just added a few minutes ago? Let's see. No. Yes. Haiyan Liu. Let me give you an example of what we're dealing with here. So Haiyan Liu's 54. Haiyan Liu came to the United States on an asylum. Think about that. What if everybody in China, Chinese national, sought asylum? That's 1 billion people. Came across the border, walked across the border in 2021 on an asylum visa. Went to Flushing, New York. If you've ever been to Flushing, you know that is there's a significant Asian American population there. And made her way here at some point. Now, we were told by witnesses, victims, that there are advertisements in mainland China saying, we've got work for you in the United States. And this is the way they do it. They come over seeking asylum, and they get into this illicit business, and that is the goal. All indications are that's the goal from the start. They didn't come over to work in a some other legitimate company and they got laid off, so they went and did this. This was the plan. As I mentioned, we had significant 1,871 in Chinese currency was seized in Russellville. Mercedes-Benz vehicle was seized in Rogers, and 70,000 US dollars. This money, we've got a lot of investigating to do, so I don't want to prejudge. But it appears that this is money, some of which is sent back to China. One of the individuals one of the victims, one of the 17 victims, said that she is forced to work in an illicit massage parlor, just so we know what we're talking about here, 13 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day. That's human. And we were able to obtain significant information from the individuals, the Johns, who were found at these locations, and the victims as well. And again, they range in age from 29 years old to 65 years old. We executed 12 search warrants: Jonesboro, Russellville, Hot Springs, Rogers, Harrison, and a Little Rock hotel. And that was how we got the information, the car, the cash, the Chinese cash, the U.S. cash, a lot of information. Now, when I took office in 2023, we had a legislative session immediately, and we made some changes to human trafficking laws. We've been working on more changes since then. We have some changes we will be announcing in the coming days, but one thing I want to point out, I think it's on here. I may just have to go on memory. So currently, the penalty for Johns is an unclassified misdemeanor. And we are going to seek to up that. I'm talking about the first offense. And we've worked with Will on that and some others. We did work with you on that. Sure. With Will on that and some others. So we have thank you. We have a number of changes that we'll be pursuing in the legislative session. We're not here to discuss all of those today, but we're able, when we do real world work like this, we're able to see where our laws are weak and where they're strong and where we need to improve them. Without going into details, I will tell you that the individuals arrested, the 4 women, and the operations that we targeted, we're going to continue to do this around the state, but they are woven into a network that goes far beyond our borders. This is a national, international network. And here's the deal. Criminals don't draw the line and say, well, we'll do this bad stuff, but we're not going to do this. So where you find human trafficking, you often find drug trafficking, violence, rape, crimes against children, etc. I mean, they're not finding their moral compass as you get away from human trafficking. They're not drawing a line. They're involved in all kinds of stuff. And let me say this, because I think sometimes we collectively as a country are a bit naive about this, because we're a welcoming people, always have been. But make no mistake about it. We've known for decades, those of us in the military, and I've talked about it before, and I'm going to keep talking about it. We're not talking about the people of China, but the Communist Chinese government is not your friend. They are involved in the fentanyl, shipping fentanyl ingredients that's used south of the border that ultimately kills lots of Americans. They're involved in cybersecurity attacks. And we don't know all the details yet, but I can tell you there appears to be an obvious Chinese tie here. And it's not about that country or any other country. It's about what they want to do to disrupt here in the United States. And also, they like getting our hard currency and sending it back. And they'll do this and many, many other things to accomplish that. So, anything you want to add that I missed on the operation?
No, the only thing I would add is just the appreciation from Attorney General's office here with all of the cooperation and the partnerships. We can't do this without everybody. The relationships that you see up here are phenomenal, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, and let me speak to that for a second. So we've been pushing to do this and did a lot of the organization. But make no mistake about it, who's knocking on the doors? Who's making the arrests? The law enforcement folks. Some of them are here. Some of them aren't here because they're still processing people. That one individual from Harrison was just added a little bit ago. And then what happens when you find victims? You got to get them help. Medical, mental, emotional. You got to show them that people care for them and that they're not wedded to this way of life, right? We have those advocacy groups here. They do this professionally. They know what they're doing. We couldn't do that without them. So it's this, and then the prosecutors, we work closely with state prosecutors and federal prosecutors. We had federal partner here in this one, Homeland Security Investigations. But here's what a lot of people forget. This office, the AG's office, does not have original prosecutorial ability. We have to partner. We have to partner to prosecute. And that's why, since day one, I have worked hard to develop relationships with the elected prosecuting attorneys and the folks that work with them, whether it's getting together with them socially, just staying in touch with them, offering to help, whatever. We've got to build those relationships because you have law enforcement, you have the victims, advocates, and help on site and after, and the prosecutors. It's all the team. State police, all of these organizations have to work hand in hand or it just doesn't work right. I miss anything? Yeah. Sorry, y'all. So when I got here, I created something called the Special Prosecutions Division and the Special Investigations Division separately. We had already had something like that with prosecutors and investigators. I separated them out. And Chief Bewley, who came from LRPD, has been a godsend. And he thought he was retiring. Didn't happen. Still not going to happen. And he's doing awesome. And then we've built cyber capability. We've talked about the human trafficking investigator and organized retail crime, et cetera. But the Special Investigations Division is all investigators. And then we have a Special Prosecutions Division. Those are our prosecutors who liaise with folks like Sonia and Will and their people. It's truly been a team effort. Communications, Jeff Lemaster and his team. It's just been awesome. But I think the takeaway is this is only the beginning because there are so many leads that are going to come out of this. We're going to continue to be able to address this problem. And again, it's not just human trafficking, it's drugs and other things. And I want to say this. We had a legitimate massage instructor contact us and say thank you. Because look, let's be real. Sometimes you don't know. When you see a place, you don't know. Somebody else might know. You don't know whether it's legit or not. And you're sort of, to some degree, you might be taking a chance. If you really had a hurt back or something and you don't know what you're walking into, you know? In any event, this is only the beginning. We got a lot to do on this. But I appreciate y'all showing so much interest in this. There are real victims here. These are folks that were looking for, I guess, an alternative to where they were, and this is what they've ended up being. And I have no idea whether they were told this is what they were getting into or not. I doubt it. It doesn't sound like it. In any event, happy to take some questions.
As a result of the operation, will the parlors be shut down?
I think it depends on the individual ones. That'll be a very fact-specific inquiry. Look, if it's a place that's all they're doing, then obviously that's something that we're going to look into. We do have civil abatement authority, and so do the prosecuting attorneys, and so we'll be talking with them about the options in their area. But a lot of these, my take on it, based on what I've seen, is that's what a lot of these places do all the time. It's not like 90% of the stuff is legit and they just happen to catch them on the wrong day. So in that case, we'll be doing everything we can to stop it. If that means shutting it down, we got to shut it down.
Follow-up question. Are the people that you arrested the operators of the parlors?
I think ultimately you've got layers of operators, right? Out of state, overseas. My understanding is the individuals, these four, were sort of in charge of that particular location. Fair?
Where are the victims now?
I don't think we want to get into all that.
Many of them are continuing to receive services and work with the private partners, victim advocates.
You mentioned accounts of these advertisements in mainland China, advertising work. Would that be people like these victims who are coming over here and being exploited, or are those advertisements to get these sorts of things set up and run them?
I think we've got to sort through the facts. My take, based on what I was told, evidence indicates that opportunities for work in the U.S. is how it's presented. I don't think they say you want to work in a sex shop. I think they say we've got an opportunity in the United States, and that's very attractive to people living in China who want to start over, want to have some money. Excuse me. So I don't think that the advertisements are telling all the story,
Of course.
as you would expect.
By and large, are these victims U.S. nationals? No?
I think all four of these are Chinese nationals.
No, sorry, the victims.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have a breakdown on that. Do you know?
And the question again was?
Are the victims Chinese nationals?
Yes.
All of them, or?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And we don't have a breakdown of what I don't have a breakdown on what immigration credential each have, but it sounds like there's a lot of asylum visas for Chinese nationals.
To follow up with his question, was a language barrier with them?
We have interpreters.
Okay.
Again, team effort. And it wasn't me.
You mentioned there were 17 total victims, but only 16 accepted care. Can you tell us about the other person?
We offer care to all of them. And, for whatever reason, I could opine that it's fear or shock or whatever. They have the option of not receiving that care. So I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you. I have two. The first one you mentioned, just kind of improving the laws where we're weak at. Is that just more victim protection laws in the sense that you wanna work on?
We've already made some changes 2 years ago in session, and I applaud the governor and the legislature on that. We had some proposed changes as it related to victims, but also as it relates to the perpetrators, and we've got some more changes on that. So stay tuned. We'll be rolling. Excuse me. We'll be rolling that out.
All right, and then final one. You also mentioned that most of them are on visas, and so once they receive all this aid and care and you guys finish your investigation, is there talks that they probably will be sent back to their...
That, we will have to discuss that with the federal authorities. That's not under my authority, but federal authorities were involved. HSI was involved. Homeland Security Investigations was involved. But that's something that certainly a conversation we'll have to have.
Are you able to tell us which hotel in Little Rock?
No.
And was there anything in common with a lot of these places? I noticed a few were like open until 9:30. Anything else that kind of linked a lot of them together?
I think that a lot of the information that we're learning about their operation and their modus operandi is stuff that information that we're going to want to sit on for now as we learn more. This is only the beginning, and we've got a lot of leads, a whole lot of leads. The fact that we found Chinese currency, Chinese nationals here on asylum, $70,000 in cash. We had verbal information of these ads in a Mercedes. It tells me there's a much, much bigger story here. And I think almost every one of the individuals came either through LA or New York.
Thank you. Is there, so we've been hearing on social media that there, in the same time that this happened, there were ICE raids around the state.
This has nothing to do with that.
Nothing.
I don't know anything about the ICE raids. The ICE was not involved in this.
Okay.
This is something I've been pursuing since before I was sworn in.
Okay.
Fair? I bugged him just about weekly for 2 years, at least. Okay. So I'm not saying they weren't doing something, but I have no knowledge of that. A lot of stuff on social media is not accurate. You may have heard that before. I've heard that too. All right, y'all. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it, and I apologize for my voice. But again, without these folks, I'd be standing up here by myself, right? They are critical. They are critical, and they are treasured partners. And this is going to be a long journey. And I think when we start pulling this string, we're going to find all kinds of things on the other end that are horrible. And we're just going to keep doing it. Thank y'all so much.